the manifestation started coming to fruition, I was blown away. And I really was able to step into my feminine power. And I loved that feeling so much. And I was like, I need to create this for other women and men, but primarily women.
Oh, okay. This is fun. We've got Cheree and
Charee.
I love it. Yes. And we are just rolling with the dice. I mean, we are here in studio. We just landed from Tahoe. And that was an adventure.
Yes.
And we got a lot of attention on the two Cherees. So that's always been fun.
Yep.
So it's Cheree and
Charee.
But we are both Cherees.
Cherees.
And work it's Cheree and Cha-Cha, just so we
Yes.
can understand. Which I was wondering, I'm like, I don't know why she got the cool name. Why couldn't I be the Cha-Cha? You got the Cha-Cha.
I got the Cha-Cha. Yeah. But that's okay.
But it works.
Do you want a nickname? Do you want a fun nickname?
No. I
Okay.
mean, not anymore. I used to be Cheree.
That's my Instagram handle.
Oh.
Cheree.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is. That's what it was. In my
Yeah.
old job, they called me Cheree. So
Yeah.
it's okay. I could do without the nickname
No.
now. We'll let you have it.
It's okay. It's fun. It's a fun nickname. I got it in high school because we did like a musical review and we did Grease. And
fun.
it just happened.
Yeah.
It was just the Cha-Cha Gregorio vibe was there and just never left. So
I love it.
I still have friends to this day who call me that.
Really?
Yep,
That's
my
fun,
friends
though.
from college.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
it's not a work thing, really.
It's a friend thing.
It's
yeah.
a friend thing. I like it.
Sometimes it gets weird when the clients call me that, but
Yeah, that's true. It's true. That's true.
no one wants to call
It's
their
kind of
therapist
like
Cha-Cha.
No. Just like I don't like when kids at school, my kids' friends, when they call me Mrs. Ashley. I'm like, not yet. We're not there yet. I don't want to be a Mrs. Ashley yet.
Mrs. Ashley. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a lot of things to talk about
We
today.
do.
I'm really excited to have you in studio finally. I mean, we work really closely together, and I really appreciate your expertise in everything that you have. I really can't thank you enough. I mean, BFR is so fortunate to have you as their clinical director, and our team of staff also are fortunate to have somebody
you.
like you with just so much insight and knowledge and professionalism and expertise to be able to go to when they have questions, and for you to oversee and catch things that maybe I can't see, and our other leadership team. So without you, I don't know where we would be, but I just wanted
effort.
to.
It's a group effort. It is.
Yes.
We're a team, and the clinical director is only as good as the team, and vice versa,
Yes.
So.
And so what got you interested in becoming a therapist?
So it's twofold. So when I was in grad school, they had like the career fair. So people coming in trying to recruit the different trainees. And you're in your first year of grad school. Everyone's just willing to take whatever they can. A lot of the people who I went to school with, we all hustled. We all did our things. But I needed one that paid. I couldn't afford. I was living on my own. I did not have a scholarship. I didn't have, I was on my own. And I could not afford to have an internship that didn't pay. So the only one that paid was a methadone clinic. Shout out to BART, Bay Area Addiction Research. They're a methadone clinic, all up and down. I think they're LA County and Northern California. They're all up and down the California coast.
Okay.
It was a methadone clinic. It was the only one that paid. So I had to. I had to go. And that was the first taste of addiction treatment that I had gotten, where the clients were mandated for therapy. So it was not really super fun times. It's also, I don't know if anyone's familiar with a methadone clinic, but they open very early. So I was 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And as someone who's, I think I was like 22, 23 years old, that's not ideal. But I had to work. So I was going there, and then I worked at an attorney's office. So I would go to the attorney's office, and I never left the addiction field. I also have tons of family and friends who are in recovery. So my father's sober. My sister, she struggled with addiction issues. She unfortunately passed away. My husband's in recovery. Most of my friends are in recovery, most of them. So I'm just, and I just wouldn't have it any other way. I went adolescence. I did the depression, anxiety route. And I just didn't like it. I just love addiction, and I love the hope that comes from it. And I don't ever intend on leaving.
I love it. We need you in this field. Yes. You know what you're talking about. Now, I'm curious. Actually, I didn't know that you had worked in a methadone clinic early on. Now, having so many years of experience working in this field, what's your take on methadone? Like, do you look back on it? I mean, there are so many opinions and feels towards methadone clinics. Some think it's just great and it's so helpful, and others are just like, I can't believe they still exist. What's your take on that?
I'm 50-50. Working in the methadone industry gave me the open mind and open heart to understand Suboxone a little more, and how that can be really helpful. I will say methadone, I've seen a lot of bad with it, and I'm more of a proponent of Suboxone, harm reduction, of things of that nature. I've been out of the methadone game for a really long time, so I don't know if it's changed, but it was a really sad 2 years to work with, and I would say I got really jaded very fast in this industry, and it took a lot for me to kind of come out of that.
Now, who do you feel, because I agree, being in recovery from opiates, I'm very thankful that I did not have to be on a MAT program, and I was able to overcome it with cognitive therapy, and I think a combination of things that didn't qualify me for MAT, but I also was in a program that really assessed that too, and didn't believe in MAT treatment. So now I know that there's, at our facility, we really like to assess and see. And some places it's just instantly you're an opiate addict. You're going on MAT for 6 months to a year. What do you feel qualifies somebody to be a candidate for long-term MAT treatment? And when I say MAT, it's medication-assisted treatment. And some people may not understand what that is, but long-term maintenance program.
I mean, I think anyone and everyone can really benefit. I think if it's something where you are a chronic relapser, and you just, I look at it as another medication to take. I know back in the day, way back when people were started taking antidepressants, everything, it was so taboo. And now I feel that Suboxone, I know everyone has a different view on it, but I feel like Suboxone, MAT, is right up there with just antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication. Like, if you need it, please take it. I heard a quote one time, whereas if you can't if you can't produce your own serotonin, store-bought's fine. And I think that goes along perfectly with that. There's no shame if you have to take those meds. If that's what's going to help you save your life, by all means, keep going. I mean, you run the risk of, there's people who do take a little too much. But I think if you find the right doctor who's willing to prescribe it in an appropriate way, you can do so many amazing things. Yeah.
I agree. And it's hard, right? Because it's like, okay, well, somebody's first time in treatment versus their 10th time in treatment.
Right.
One in 10th time in treatment, now we're looking at, they definitely are possibly going to be a candidate for this. Yeah. Where the first time in treatment, we're risking a relapse if we don't try it. But at the same time, we don't want to put somebody on it if they could have been okay without it, And I think that's where a strong clinical team come into play, is to make sure that everybody from all sorts of different, professional outlooks are able to 100%. Come together and say, okay, this is what we feel is best for this client.
Yes. Having the wherewithal to assess fully is key.
Yes.
It's so key. And communicating with the families, right?
Absolutely.
Because some families don't know about Suboxone or MAT. They don't understand it. And so I love that part of communicating with the families of, this is how it's helped me and my family.
Right.
This is how it helped other families. Think about it, talk about it. Here's some resources. It's really helpful to have that information for families.
And I think it's really important too, because a lot of families think that's just putting them on another drug. They're coming in to get off a drug and they're leaving on another drug. And having education and knowledge of what it is and why and the reasons behind it. It's like, okay, well, maybe they need to try this or the Sublocade shot for period of time, it's better than the alternative of putting needles in their arms and
100%.
risking overdose.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're maintaining jobs and they're following
100%.
a career path, and we're seeing a lot of success with it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that. I want to learn a little bit more too about you also have a business.
I do.
Yeah. And it fascinates me. I love it. I got to learn just a little bit about it in our Tahoe trip, but I definitely want to dive into that a little bit more because I find it very exciting and, easing our mind. And just to go into it a little bit, is you and I both do a lot of presentations and a lot of speaking, but I think that we really just conquered a really big project and fear for both of us together. And that was really an awesome experience to share with you.
I loved it.
So, but that is how I kind of started learning a little bit more about your business.
So I am the owner of Moon Goddess Rituals, and I sell scrubs, soaks that you can use on the full moon or any time of day, night, whichever you want to really hone in any spiritual capacity that you'd like. I sell also cleansing sprays. So I have what's called the Bad Bitch Kit, which is my absolute favorite product.
Yes.
It's a cleansing spray that gets rid of negative energy, but also boosts self-confidence. It has a little lotus and a little violet in there. Also can be an aphrodisiac if you'd like to. It's just a nice little pick-me-up. Comes with Palo Santo and a crystal as well. So that's my absolute favorite product, is the Bad Bitch Kit.
Yes.
I have started some candles too. Those are coming out soon. And body oils. So I love it. And it all came from the pandemic. I moved to Long Island. I'm originally from Chino, California. So I'm a Cali girl through and through, but I moved to Long Island right smack in the middle of the pandemic, June 2020. And I have always, struggle's not the right word. I have always been curious about different forms of spirituality. And I always knew that something was different with me, that I wasn't, I went to church. I was raised Catholic. I was confirmed, First Communion, all the things. Did non-denominational Christian for a little bit. And I always knew, like, I don't know if this is it for me. I don't know. And when I moved to Long Island, I started looking into more of holistic spirituality. So crystals, oracle readings, things like that, which my mom didn't really appreciate, but she understands now. And working with the goddess and the divine feminine energy that we all possess. And when I was introduced into all that, I took it and ran with it, and I loved it. And I started making my own ritual baths. Like on the full moon, I would do little rituals of cleansing or manifesting, different things like that. And when things started happening and the manifestations started coming to fruition, I was blown away. And I really was able to step into my feminine power. And I loved that feeling so much. And I was like, I need to create this for other women and men, but primarily women. I need to create this feeling, and I need to create something around this so that people can harness their own powers. And it's really how I run my therapy practice too. My main goal is just to get people to step into their power. That's it. That's what Moon Goddess is all about. It's just stepping back into who you are, knowing who you are in an authentic way. And if you need a little help along the way, that's fine too. And you can do it however you want. I have clients from all walks of life. I do spiritual coaching for Buddhists, Christians, Catholics, everybody.
And that's what I really loved about it. You know, I grew up, I'm Seventh-day Adventist, and what I love is that it's not like a alternative to a religion. It's an addition.
It's an enhancement.
Yes, exactly. And I loved it. And I felt that when we did, what was those deck of cards?
The Oracle cards, the Moon deck. Yeah.
I like those. I need those. I need those in my life, especially for nerve-wracking situations. It really was helpful to.
It's a good grounding exercise.
For 5 minutes. And then I got nerves again in 5 minutes, and then calmed down again in 5 minutes. But that was it was a really cool exercise. And I really love the topic that we spoke on. I feel like that was a really powerful presentation and topic, not just for women, but for men and women. And
Absolutely.
I feel like we went into it with just so much uncertainty. And we spoke on imposter syndrome.
We did.
And I thank you for picking that topic because it's something that a lot of people, I feel, struggle with. And like I had mentioned in the presentation, when you had brought that up and I started looking into it, it's one of those things that I didn't even recognize I had until I started realizing I have it, and I had been working on it before I even knew what it was, which is what's crazy. And so if you don't mind just kind of giving a little intro of to what
do you want me to bust out the slides again? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, let's do it all over. Let's relive it. Too fresh, too soon.
Too soon, yes. No, but I think that's, imposter syndrome basically is feeling unqualified despite having copious amounts of evidence that you are qualified, probably overqualified to do what it is you need to do. And that fear, my coach and I, we call it the sneaky sneak, you know, and my sneaky sneak is that little leprechaun in the corner yelling at me saying, you're not good enough. They're going to find you out. They're going to find out that you almost didn't get into college. They're going to find out that you were put on academic probation your first year of grad school because of your GRE score. You know, they're going to find all that out. They're going to find out that you were fired from a job.
Right.
And what's interesting with that is all those things that I just mentioned gave me so much more knowledge to handle life. Like I've failed so many times, and we talked about that in the presentation last night. Failure, people have to change the narrative around it. And that to me is one of the biggest ways to overcome imposter syndrome, is changing the narrative around the limiting beliefs that you have. So why is that little sneaky sneak telling you that you aren't good enough? Where is that coming from? And then also changing the narrative that you tell yourself when you perceive that you fail.
Right. Because
it's not a failure. It's a new opportunity to rise above.
Right.
Hence why I started Moon Goddess.
Right.
Because I just want to teach people how to step back into their power, remember who the hell you are.
Right.
And rise above. And everybody's journey with that looks different.
Right.
You know, and it's so empowering to teach people that. Sometimes I want to shake it, but.
Yeah. and it's true. And I think that that's something. We did an exercise with a lot of amazing professionals in our field. I mean, the best part about these conferences is to be able to learn. Yes. I love learning, constant learning from other experts in different areas. And, you know, seeing everybody, all 150 participate in that activity so quickly. It's almost like they were ready. They were ready for it. They were ready to say, like, you know what? What's mine? Like, where's... what's coming up for me? And having some share, and a lot didn't want to share, but we had people after coming up to us, and that was just
blown away.
Blown
away by some of the limiting beliefs that people who have so many letters after their last name just say horrible things about themselves. And one, it made me really sad, but also it kind of made me realize, okay, I need to keep going. Like, we need to keep talking about this.
Right.
And we have to do more presentations. So
absolutely.
Charee and Cheree are available for more speaking engagements. Book us.
Yeah. We will educate you on imposter syndrome while we are filling the imposter syndrome. In the bio.
But it's crazy how many people deal with this.
Right.
And there's so many different levels of it. So many women experience this. I talked about it last night, like women of color, minorities. You know, people think imposter syndrome is not feeling qualified to have a seat at the table. And I made the comment, women of color and minorities feel like they can't even get into the restaurant.
Right.
And that is systemic injustice. I can go on and on about that.
Right.
But I know we don't have a lot of time. So that is something I'm also very passionate about, is creating, you know, equal playing fields. But with imposter syndrome, it's just, it blows my mind how many people have limiting beliefs about themselves. And there's so many people walking around that don't do anything about it.
Right.
And they're just living in this fear. And
constant fear.
Yeah, and it's just, I get it.
Right.
Right. I get it. I sometimes I do feel, and I work really hard to think about the fact that I'm exactly where I need to be, and I'm right on time, and I'm good. I'm exactly where I need to be. But there are times where I'm like, man, if I didn't have this imposter syndrome, man, what would I be doing? What would I be owning at this point in my life, you know?
And I feel like so many people, like you said, they are overly qualified to do what it is that they are good at or capable of because of their self-doubt. Yeah. And they're not good enough, and they're not, you know, qualified enough. And they are, because of the comparison. And that's another thing we talked about. And I loved what you had said, is we are constantly comparing ourselves to where somebody else already is. And we're focusing on them taking off and where they're at in their career or where they're at in parenting and they're married and I'm not, whatever it might be in life. And like you said, they're not checking their own car that the check engine light is on. Yeah. They're not focusing on right here, right now of what you're already doing because you're focusing on someone else's 100%. Situation. Yeah. And, you know, I just love it. I feel like this definitely, if anybody who is watching has any questions on this, we'd be more than happy to dive in deeper because it really is a powerful subject, especially if you're trying to achieve different goals in life. And even if you start a career path and you start, you know, self-doubting yourself, like for me being the perfectionist, you know, and the soloist and everything has to be perfect and I need to juggle as many things and spin as many plates as I can at once. And then that's where, you know, Superwoman comes in and everyone on the outside is like, she's great. She can handle it. She's got it. And I'm like, help me, you know?
Yeah, she's doing great. We never have to worry about her. We never have, oh my gosh, how many times I've heard that. I never have to worry about you. But you should. You should worry about me.
Got it. We have to check in. Yeah. You got to check in on your people. Yeah. Because that is a trait that's a blessing and a curse. And I think it's great that I can multitask and do many different things. But internally, I am screaming inside because I'm trying to get it all done in a very short amount of time. That's a lot of times very unrealistic, you know, and how many times I've traveled back and traveled for 24 hours just to make sure that I don't miss that baseball game. Like I refuse. And to some degree that's good. Right. Yeah. But the other part is it's okay to miss one thing. Yeah. It's okay to say no to that. I have a hard time saying no. I can't.
I do too.
Let anybody else down. So I put myself on the back burner to be there for somebody else. And I'm getting a lot better at prioritizing what it is that fulfills me and what I need. And if that means that it's removing, you know, different people from my life or saying no, that's a huge one. And that really rattles the cage when you do that, when you stop showing up for somebody else because you're taking care of yourself. Yeah. People really don't like that. And I'm starting to learn that. And it's like, wow, you know, I should have been taking care of myself a lot sooner and going to bed instead of showing up because that's what I had wanted to do before.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you say, I tell this a lot to my clients, when you say no to other things that aren't serving you, it's the biggest yes of all to you. And there's so many times, and especially women, that we don't say yes to ourselves. Right. We will say yes to everybody else. Let's make sure this is done, that these needs are met, you know, dinner's on the table, you know, everyone else is fed. But you're hungry. You haven't eaten. I think a lot about that movie. You know, we were talking about how much we love Christmas, but a Christmas story, right? Where the mom is like getting everybody food, and by the time she sits down, her plate is cold. And it's like that's the perfect manifestation of what not taking care of yourself looks like. Where you're eating cold food, but everybody else has like these nice warm plates, and they have everything that they need. Right. And you know, I don't have children yet; they're coming. But when that, you know, moms do that the worst of all, right? You know, making sure that, and there's, to a certain extent, that's what you sign up for, right? Totally. As being a mom, right? Making sure that your kids can't take care of yourself or of themselves just yet, you know? So you have to step in and do that. But also, in order for you to fill others with their cup, you have to fill yours. And yours has to be full before you do anything. And there's so many women out there who don't do that. And they just say yes to all these other things. And I like to ask myself when I'm getting overwhelmed or when I'm feeling like I'm doing too much, right? Which is my threshold is a little bit higher. Some friends might say otherwise, but I feel like I can handle a little bit more before I start the breakdown. But is this serving me? Is this person serving my energy? Are they aligning with my energy? Are they aligning with my values? Are they aligning with my goals? And if that's not the case, I need to create some distance. Right. And there's people out there that when you set that boundary and when you create that distance, they lose it. And it's only because they've benefited from you not having boundaries. And they have taken advantage of that. And it's it's not as easy as like, oh, you're cut off by. It's difficult because we're humans and that kind of stuff is really hard. So when you do this work, right? When you do the work of stepping back into your power, it is really, really hard because the first thing you have to learn to do is say no. And there's a lot of people who can't do that. I mean, I still struggle with it.
I majorly struggle with it. I mean, I have to go check myself into retreats and therapy. And like, would you say how much money I've spent on therapy?
Right. The thousands of dollars that I've spent because I don't know how to say no.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, but that is investing in ourselves and making sure that we are okay.
Yeah.
And I am here for anyone else who needs help. But if it's not in alignment with me in my personal life, you know,
right.
That's just something I have to do for myself. And I encourage other people to do the same thing.
Right.
And if you're not happy with the situation, change it. And if you're not comfortable making that change, learn about it, educate yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Because I need more things to do
now. Because you can handle it. You're fine.
I'm fine. I can handle more clients now.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you so much. I mean, you just are a ball full of knowledge and you just do so much for so many people. Aww. You are so loved. And where can people follow your journey and get all these amazing things that you have to offer?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram. What is it called? I'm a millennial, so I don't. What is my handle? The handle. My handle is Cheree Hey with 3 H's or 3 A's. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. But yeah, you can follow me there. You can follow my journey of, you know, obviously for HIPAA reasons, I don't put all my clients on there, but I put all my fun little hobbies on there and how I work on stepping into the divine feminine, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. It's a Cheree thing. I'm sure there'll be many more things that we do together.
It is. I look forward to that.
Yes, I do too. Thanks, girlfriend.
You got
it. Love you.
Love you.